love lives here.
And so I just invite you to take a deep breath right now. And we're going to do something experiential. It's called the ripple exchange. So I invite you to close your eyes if you feel like you need, if it's okay for you to do so right now. You're not driving, so I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. Now I want you to think of one small act of kindness that you've received. Maybe somebody held the door open for you. Maybe someone called you when you were down. Maybe someone extended a smile when you needed it the most. Now I want you to feel the warmth that memory feels like in your heart. Just feel the warmth of that memory in your heart. Now you can take another deep breath with me and open your eyes. And when you have the opportunity today, if you need this little piece, I'll send it to you. But write down what that thing was and how it made you feel. Write it down and just think back. What was that thing? Because I'm sure you haven't forgotten it. And how it made you feel. Because they say you people will say things and you won't remember what they said, but you will remember how it made you feel. So feeling, emotions. So my talk title today is The Power of Small Acts. Small acts have great power. They cause ripples in the world. Now, what are some of these small acts? These simple everyday acts that have a positive impact on others. It could be something everyday and practical, like I said before, holding the door open for someone. How about this one? Letting someone merge in traffic. That's a big one. Even if you have to, do it with a grateful heart. Offering a smile or a nod to a stranger. We went through, and I'm not going to belabor it, I'm not going to go over all the details, but you know what I'm talking about. We went through a time when people they wouldn't look at you. They were behind their mask. And so, a smile to a stranger. There are emotional and relational acts also. How about this one? Listening fully without interrupting. Daryl, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Listening fully without interrupting. I joke about that, but if you've ever had a partner in your life, they try to fix things. So as soon as you say something, they jump into fix-it mode. Just listen. Even when you're talking to someone that you know may not be a partner, but maybe just an acquaintance, and you're talking and they're going, yeah. Don't rush me. Allow me to get it out. Because what you think I'm going to say, it may not be exactly what you think. All right, offering forgiveness for a small hurt. There can be acts of service. Helping carry groceries or bags. We brought in some big things today. How many of you helped? Helping. Running a small errand for someone who needs it. You know, you might have that neighbor next door that can't get out because of whatever situation, and you know, you might ask, is there anything, I'm going to the store, is there anything that you need me to pick up for you? So, running an errand from someone, volunteering, and we do that here. We volunteer our time, talent, and treasure to make this beautiful thing that we're doing today happen. Our beautiful Sunday celebration service. And then there are spiritual acts or conscious acts, offering a silent blessing to someone. Offering a silent blessing to someone. Not saying, Cindy, I'm going to pray for you. But if I know, you know, she's struggling for whatever reason, anyone, just do a silent prayer for them, for their highest and best good. And you don't have to tell them, I'm holding you the high watch for you in that situation. And speaking a word of encouragement when you see someone. Paying a mindful compliment. Thank you, Frank. And then the biggie, the one that we don't do very often, self-kindness. Self-kindness. Taking a moment to breathe and center yourself. Saying a kind word to yourself. Say those words, I am enough. I am enough. It's personal. It's an inside job. And giving yourself permission to rest or take a pause. You know, we run. We have to get this done and that done and this done and that done. What if you didn't get it all done in a day? The sun will come out tomorrow, so you can do it tomorrow. So the spiritual significance of the small. There is a spiritual power in which seems small. The gentle smile, the hand extended, a quiet prayer whispered for someone we may never meet. And of course, the thank you or the excuse me. Those are small acts. I watch when I go places and people will just walk right over you. When did we stop having the kind courtesy to say, excuse me? And that lets me know that I'm going to maybe step back a little bit so that person can get through. So even that. So according to the Center Counseling Group blog, it says, when small is big. And it says there are 7 small acts that can have big impacts. And that was written by Jay Desco, a PhD, on November 29, 2023. Now, Jay was a former landscaper, and he said, I still love being outside and working with the plants in my yard, as well as the yards of a few of my neighbors. And one of the fascinating things I see in the landscaping is how some plants are fragile and are easily damaged, while trees are strong enough that you can use their wood to build a house. Yet all plants are made of a similar cellular structure. The difference is due to something very, very small. The concentration of the cells found in a tree are much higher than found in the plants. So small things can make a big difference as well. And here are 7 of the action steps that make a big impact. You can exceed someone's expectation, according to this blog. You can return a call or an email. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll get a call and I'll say, you know, I'm really busy right now, so I'm not going to answer that, but I'm going to call them back later, and then I forget to call them back later. Or you have an email and you read it and you say, you know what, I'm going to get back with that person. And a couple of days go by and you haven't gotten back to the person yet. I try, I'm going to not tell you that I do it all the time. I try to pick up one thing once. It doesn't always work. But I try. Sending a personal note, performing an unplanned act of kindness, maybe washing the dishes for your busy spouse. Just kidding, but that is a good one. Giving a gift, sending a personal note. How many of you out there had personalized stationery and little note cards with your initials on it? That used to be a thing. You send a nice note. I used to spend hours in the Hallmark store looking for the perfect card for the person that I want to send it to, because if you know that person's personality, you know what card is going to work for them or what you want to express. And I would do that. And you can do that as well. And taking a moment to connect. And speaking of connection, we're all interconnected beings. Like trees and like plants, like that mycelial network that all communicate, there's a spiritual parallel that we are also interconnected mirrors. So what happens in nature, just as plants share resources and they talk, humans share energy. We share energies, emotion, information, and we can support each other. So in some spiritual traditions, the concept of all life is one. Where have we heard that? All life is one. So there is this thread that goes through philosophies that says all life is one. Therefore, when we perform these little acts, we can make a very big difference in someone's life. So I'm going to use the Bible as another example. There's a story of the master teacher, you know who I'm talking about, meets a woman whose name is never mentioned, but she was a bit of a social outcast, so the book says. And having an unscheduled conversation that turned into a divine appointment. This holy encounter ended up not only changing her life, but she went and told everyone in her town about it. And because of a moment of connection, she made a difference. It made a difference to her. And she extended it in her town. So what does Science of Mind tell us? That we are surrounded by a creative power that responds to us according to our thoughts. And that means that every thought, every gesture, every small act of kindness is creative energy in motion. We are creative energy in motion. You've heard of the creative process. But we often wait for the big changes to happen in our lives, the dramatic transformation, and we think, when I have more time, I can do that. When I have more money, I can send to that charity or do that thing. When I have more energy, then I'll make a difference. So I'm reminded of a movie that I watched when I was growing up, and I think Agnes Moorehead was in the movie, and you might know her as Endora. She's a great actress. So in the scene, she's in her bed, and the little girl walks in with these patches. And the little girl says, "Can you make a quilt out of these squares?" And she said, "Look at me. I'm in the bed. I'm so sick. I can't do this." And the little girl says to her, "Stop focusing on what you can't do. Stop focusing on yourself and start focusing on others." And I'm paraphrasing. And what you can do is you can help someone else. You can help someone else. This small act. So we need to listen to the Spirit whisper and start where we are. Start where we are and be who we already are. And I love the term what if. What if? What if the smallest act of kindness was actually the most powerful form there? What if the smallest act of kindness was the most powerful form of prayer? So here's a story about a ripple on the bridge. Now, I'm reading this story. I thought it fit. So a man walked across the bridge every morning on his way to work. And one day he noticed a woman standing at the edge, and she was looking down. But he almost passed her by. He had his coffee in one hand, he had his phone in his other hand, but something in him whispered, "Stop." And that wasn't quite a whisper, but you know what I mean. Something whispered, "Stop." So he paused, he smiled, and simply said, "Good morning. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?" It startled the woman, but she nodded, and he went on his merry way. So years later, the story says that he received a letter from the same woman, and she wrote, "That day on the bridge, I was planning to end it all. Your simple kindness, your smile, and your words interrupted my pain long enough for me to remember that there is goodness in the world. You saved my life with that one act." Sometimes we need an interruption because we get so busy on our computers and on our phones, and and I do too. I'm not saying you. I'm saying we, because this is a collective. We get so busy. We get so busy. Sometimes the smallest act, a word, a look, a moment of attention, it holds divine power. We may never think that we impact someone. We don't do it for recognition or anything like that. We just do it because we're being who we're meant to be. Spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in these human forms. So we may never know the impact we make, but the universe does. The universe does because it causes a ripple effect in the world, and it goes out. So Rev Jeff and I we've been reviewing this book and reading this book by Sabine Selassie called You Belong. And she reminds us that belonging is not something we earn. It's something we remember. Something we remember. She writes that we belong not because of what we do, but because of who we are. And every time we reach out to smile at a stranger, to forgive a small hurt, to send a loving text, we are weaving the web of belonging even tighter. Even tighter. So belonging begins by noticing, by being curious. When we notice others, that grocery clerk. How many go through the grocery line? I do it. And it's just boop, 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 boop. Never look up at the person until she asks for my card. But we can say hello, or good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are shopping, or I hope you're having a wonderful day. Or I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. That small encounter can make so much difference in someone's life. So the ripple effect through the lenses of CSL is Science of Mind teaches that thought is creative and consciousness is cause. That every single kind thought radiates. It moves through the invisible mind, the invisible medium of mind. Every single kind thought radiates, and it moves through the invisible medium of mind. Where are we? Right here. And it impresses peace, compassion, and love. Dr. Holmes says there is a powerful good in the universe and we can use it. A drop in the pond doesn't ask, how large is the lake or the pond? It simply ripples. Doesn't ask, how big is it? Am I going to be affected? Am I enough? No. So we can enact, we can affect change in the world. Our loving thoughts become chains of upliftment. And that starts within ourselves, in our homes, in our workplaces, in our communities. And then the ripple effect impacts the planet. So we are going to go to our tables. And I invite you to go over the questions, what you always do. And let's have some good conversation about these ripple effects and these small acts of kindness. All right, we can go to our tables now. And the questions are, when has someone's small act of kindness changed your day or your life? What small acts could you offer this week that invites someone to feel that they belong? And lastly, how might you bring more consciousness to the everyday acts that you already do? Okay, so my closing thoughts are, we are all connected and interconnected. And this is not just a human thing, but it's woven into the fabric of all life. And so Dr. Holmes tells us again that the thought of love is the most healing power known to the human mind. So each small act of love made visible is a spiritual technology of belonging. And we know about technology. So it's a spiritual technology of belonging that carries a vibration of the infinite. Nothing, absolutely nothing is wasted in God's universe. So when we remember, we stop underestimating ourselves and start living as conscious creators of good. So I invite you to take this teaching from theory into practice. Intentional practice. Each one of us affirm our oneness with one another, and this expands belonging. So we can become belonging makers. So to see this in your daily life and environment, I invite you to view each and every step that you take as the environment of holy ground. Every small act is a chance to say you matter and that you are seen and that you belong here. So our tools for thriving, which is your homework, is you can simply have a morning intention. Set your intention in the morning before you rise, before you get up and before you check your phone, before you get the day going. And you can just silently and quietly say to yourself, Spirit, move through me in one small way today. That way you can take that and ripple it out. Another thing you could do is conscious contact practice. Silently affirm when you meet someone, I see the God in you. And you don't have to go, you just silently say it to yourself. When we meet someone, I see the God in you. And lastly, there's a ripple meditation. You can visualize dropping a pebble of love into the water of mind and watch the ripples extend in the world. First to our families, in our communities, and in our world. So it is. And so just closing our eyes and recognizing that beautiful presence that is within us. We are connected to it and we cannot be separated. And just like we're connected to that power, that presence that I call God, we are connected to everything. What a wonderful world that we live in. Recognizing that we are deeply, deeply rooted and connected, just like plants in the plant world and the networks. We are connected to one another. So today we remember that every act of kindness ripples out into the world. And it makes a difference. What you do and how you show up in the world matters. And when we treat each other with the awareness that we are all connected, change happens. And so we start small and we allow it to grow until it's a wildfire in our hearts. And that helps to foster humanity, to foster love and reverence and responsibility for who we are and how we show up on this planet. It raises the consciousness and awareness. And so it is not just my responsibility, it's all our responsibility. So I just give thanks for you showing up today, being just who you are, that individualized expression of God, the one, you are the one that you've been waiting for. And when you stand in your power and your truth and know who you are, it radiates out into the world. And we can change the course of things by simply being love. So like the ripples that spread out in the water, we spread love in each and everything that we do. And so I just invite you now to just take a deep breath and know with me that we can enact change in this world. And we do it each and every day by just being the love that Spirit is within us. And so it is. All right, so we have an affirmation on the screen, and let us say it together. Well, I'm going to say it first, and then we'll say it together. Through every small act of kindness, I reveal the infinite love that lives in me. Let's say it together. Through every small act of kindness, I reveal the infinite love that lives in me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. It is this called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I receive it. I share it. And I send it forward because love lives here. Happy Sunday,